right, Florenzo's going to tell us his local dream about a healthy food business. And then after that, Kate, will you be ready to show us your videos and stuff? So one of the things that we were just reflecting on here is a thing that's been working for us is just have really consistent gatherings. And we started a thing called the Dream Team recently. So we get together for an hour every Friday with the Dream Team, which we invited 20 people to decide to commit. It's really good, healthy food. Have some. You can. I didn't eat any of that yet. Yeah, so we have good, healthy food here. Yeah, so part of what we are doing with the Dream Team is each of us is committing to play a supporting role in each other's dreams. Florenzo has a very cool food and abundance related dream, so let's hear it.
Well, my name is Florenzo. One of the things that I want to do is I want to do a food cart, but I want to do healthy comfort food, like take the soul food renditions, the Southern style cooking, and I want to make it a bit more healthy because I have an underlying condition. I have type 2 diabetes, neuropathy. Yeah, that's about it. But my grandmother was a cook. She cooked for the Chicago Board of Education for 28 years. But she was she made the most amazing food. Like, my grandmother was one of those people, if someone in the neighborhood didn't have anything to eat or they was hungry, they can always come to her house or our house and get a meal. And so I want to be able to do that too. Like for every 10 meals that I serve or I sell off of my food cart, I want to give at least 1 or 2 away for free, because no one should ever be denied food. Like, I know that a lot of these things are a business, but we can't treat people like that, because it's a thin line between being on the eating side and the not having enough food side. It's not that hard. Like, there's 6 people in my house, so we are constantly going to the grocery store constantly, and I'd rather grow my own food, honestly. And at some point I'm gonna get there. I want my own land, I want to grow my own food, I want to be able to give back to people. And that's what I want to do with my food cart. I want to be able to give people good food, good quality food, and also promote health, because food shouldn't kill you. You shouldn't be sick because of the type of food you're eating. I don't even know if I want to call it food. Most of that stuff is not. It's not food, but it's causing hypertension, diabetes, all of these different disorders, and we need to be more conscious of our health, because our health is truly our wealth. There's so many people that you hear about passing away and they're rich. They got millions of dollars and they dying from food health related disorders or sicknesses. It's 2021. We need to change the stigma. Being healthy is the goal, period. Mentally, physically, intellectually, okay, sexually. We need health. It needs to be healthy. We are, involving ourselves in way too much sickness. Like, healthcare should look like the vegetables that he showed you earlier. We need to get back in tune with that. So I'm gonna land my plane on that, but that's what I want to do. I wanna heal the world because I'm in it.
Awesome. I like how you said you're gonna land your plane on that. So again, look at that beautiful, healthy food.
Yeah.
Provided by local people. Kate, are you ready to show your video?
Come here.
and some stuff from the Hull project.
Yes, I mean, I just feel there's so much going on. We've got so much to learn from each other. This is just a little bit of our story. So I'm just going to show you a little video that we made after the first feast. So it's the first one. I've got 3 videos. They're short. So the first is the first feast. They're about 4 minutes in total. And then what it turned into, and then just a little thing about our parking space demonstration we did with Gardens and Open Spaces last year. So am I able to share my screen here?
Hopefully,
yes,
great. And thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you for allowing us to. Okay. Okay, so you might recognize some faces here. So this is our first feast. This is very much a homemade thing that we had no idea where it would lead, and because we just didn't really have much time to do anything, we just had a really loose sort of structure around. We were going to have a show, you know, like a chutney show here, and we're going to cook here, and it was just amazing. So yes, let's go.
The idea for the Hull Harvest Festival came about on a hot summer day last summer when a group of gardeners had a conversation about what they could do with their excess produce. They had much more than they could eat themselves, and they wanted to share it and not waste it. They spoke to more people and realised that others felt the same. With the help of the Time Bank, which connects people to share skills and resources, and other organisations like Rooted in Hull, Probe and Green Prosperity and Food for Hull, we connected to more people across the city who decided that this surplus produce could be used in a celebration of the harvest to feed the city. People came forward as Veg Pledge champions and spread the word to growers, allotment holders and professional growers who donated veg and filled a church with produce. Cooks came forward to inspire, demonstrating the amazing recipes that could be made from local and seasonal produce. And gardeners gave advice on the day and shared seeds with the public to plant up their used food cartons so they could cultivate them at home. On that day, we fed over 500 people and demonstrated that in our city we have the people with the growing skills, we have an excess of food that we grow, and that it is possible to cook delicious and healthy food very cheaply. We had chutney and vegetable competitions, a veg bed sculpture, mobile planters in pushchairs, and our 40+ time bankers on the day and many more before the day had an amazing time chopping, serving, cooking, greeting, planting, advising, apple pressing and entertaining. People learnt new skills and made new friends and are now inspired to do more. The public who came from across the city and further afield were amazed that the food was free and that it was for everyone. We realised the answer to the question of how do you connect to people from all ages, cultures and circumstances is feed them. Both volunteers and people who came along were inspired to do more of this. We realised we have an abundance of food, but to create this abundance we need a mechanism to share it. So the idea of the Food Growers Network was born, which will build on the connections made between individuals and local gardeners at the festival. Through building a network, we can get people together to share food growing and cooking skills across the city with skill shares, community meals, seed and plant swaps, all leading up to the next festival this year, which will be even bigger and better than last year. This network will connect all the amazing growing and cooking projects already happening across the city so we can share and connect to each other and enjoy. With the Healthier Hull community funding, we'll employ a network coordinator who will do this essential job of linking more people up across the city, finding more Veg Pledge champions and encouraging more people to get involved in growing, cooking and sharing local food. We have what we need already. Let's connect it all together.
Okay, so that was in 2015, and it was a pitch to actually get some funding for the Growers Network, which is still just about in there. As I said earlier, we now have the whole food partnership as well, which is sort of linked up nationally in looking at all the issues that we aspire to. achieve through the Growers Network. But as I said, what we're doing this summer is we're going to be doing much more of a sort of growing site safari and linking that into unlocking land as well. I just wanted this is in 2015 and we did it again in 2016. And then the following year, we got approached by our local international festival, the Freedom Festival, because they wanted to do a meal for the city. So that year, and in 2018, we fed 1,500 people completely from donated produce, grown locally, cooked by local chefs and people here, volunteers and everything. And it was with the same message. It's like, what could you do if you shared skills, space and stuff? But we felt in 2018, well, I'm just going to show you the 2018 one quickly. This is just our sort of opening.
The idea for the Hull Harvest Festival came about on a...
So how do I go on to the next slide? Here's the next one. So this is 2018.
The good company. And think about all the food that we're about to share. Now, one thing that you've got to do today is you have to make a new friend. We insist on that. So, if you're sitting next to anybody you don't know, you probably are, then we'd like you to say hello. Say hello to the person next to you if you don't know them. I want you to share a high five or a fist bump. Yeah? Or shake hands. Or even have a hug, because hugs are really, really good for you. So any of that, but make sure you meet and greet the people next to you. Make some friends, because today is all about sharing. It's all about sharing the food and sharing the company, sharing stories and having a chat. Now, let's celebrate together.
Okay,
and
so
welcome
that
the feast.
I think we were completely knackered, thank you. Huge amounts of veg, you know, like local businesses. That year we'd actually commissioned one of our smaller food growers, Frith Farm, to actually grow produce for the feast. And we really wanted to look at how we built this into like a regenerative food economy. So that's what we're working on right now. Early days, but we have this space, as I said. We've got the kitchen. We've been doing a summer program with young people, haven't we? So we're also working with Living with Water Partnership in Sheffield University on a flood resilience program. So we're also, you know, very often when you're wanting to unlock land, there's a challenge to growing things because there's no access to water. So we're designing, and we're going to be setting up a worker co-op in this context. And we've got a course that we're doing with a partners training agency around designing these dual function water harvesting systems as well. So that has this links into sort of, I guess, disaster relief in a sense. Hull in 2006, was it 2007? The whole city flooded, and it's the second most city in the UK to flood. So we need community-led approaches that enable us to be part of the solution. So the idea with these water tanks is that they can be emptied if we're expecting big rains as well, but they can also, their dual function is irrigating crops as well. So we mentioned earlier about gardens and open spaces. So we still are, it's like, this must be the same, I guess, in all countries, where particularly with big sort of statutory bodies where they don't join things up. So on one hand, they're planting saplings and trees, and with the other hand, they're cutting down ancient trees, or on one hand, they're encouraging biodiversity through community groups, and on another hand, they're mowing it all down. So we're on a quest to get them to join things up and actually work with us, the community, and say, you don't have to be our parents, we're part of your solution, and work with us. So on a day of a full council meeting where all the councillors were going there, we created our Utopian Gardens. These trees behind you are part of that, and it was a garden on wheels and in a parking space. So we paid for 2 hours parking, and then when the parking ticket was finished, we moved it to another parking space, and we gave out veg and apples and talked to lots of people. And we've really moved forward, haven't we? But there's a really long way to go. So I'll just go through to that next one. Oh no, hang on. That's the wrong one. I'm not used to doing
The good company.
Oh, no,
And think about
sorry,
all the
I've gone
food
back.
that we're about to
How do I go backwards? Oh no, sorry. Sorry about this. Right, now this is, oh no. Oh, this is the gosh one.
People took wisdom from me!
Oh, and I think we'll leave it at that. Yeah. So just a little video representation of what we've been up to, and yeah, and we're just dying to hear more from all of you about everything that you're doing in your areas. We've just got another one of our members, Linda, that's creating a space west of the city. And it just links into the wellness theme. So she's just going to say a few words about that.
Hi. Yes. Yeah, I have the great fortune of living in a really beautiful house with land, and my vision for it, I'm creating it into a place for people to come, sanctuary, and you know, for the time bank, I'd really love them to come for an away day. So a place where people can really dream and be in the land and be separate from the kind of usual pressures. So it's very much a place for creativity. I'm really working on the biodiversity of the land, so it's a joy to see that coming back. And it's a place to share. That's the only way it makes any sense, and that's my desire. So yeah, it's about wellness, and it's about a spiritual connection, a deep connection with the earth, and that connection is very important. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And Sarah, who's online, she introduced herself earlier, but she might want to say just another couple of words just about where she's coming from as an artist as well. And Linda is also an artist. So the performance artist we had as part of Gosh, we had no idea what that was about. But it was really funny and it got people's attention. So yeah. I'll pass over to Sarah. If she wants to.
Sarah? Yeah.
Hi.
And then
Hi.
Kate, if you stop sharing your screen, we'll be able to start seeing people as they talk.
Yeah. I unshared this.
So yeah, this summer, one of the things that we did was we got involved in, we ran a healthy holidays program. So we got lots of kids in and did workshops around decorating plant pots and growing food, planting things so they could take it away, cooking different cuisine from various countries and different styles and approaches to cooking, but also the arts, kind of like trying to get them to slow down and look. So we started the day with yogic breathing and stretching, and then we developed that through kind of careful listening and looking. It was a holiday project, so it wasn't always that quiet and calm, but through that we developed a lot of visuals. We printed kind of vegetables and slogans and all sorts of things for banners so that we could decorate the festival and get everyone to think about the process of getting that food to the table, I guess. But yeah, so we're looking in conversation at the moment about potential new projects, trying to really inspire. There's a local project, the Shorelines project, which is about flooding, and there we've got artists through them coming in to do a huge mural on the building, with lots of provocations, so that it's not a dead-ended, oh, there's a picture and it's something to do with flooding perhaps, but that has lots of different people's ideas in it, and is a starting point for further discussions, really. So I think that's the one of the important things in all this, is that nothing is ever an end result. It's always a continuation, a building of skills, sharing resources, and materials that we can take forward. So we're also looking at provocation cards and all sorts of things, so we can take those potentially into schools as well and get them to think about biodiversity and the environment, but with creative solutions such as you're all bringing here. I think that's as much as I can possibly say, but unless there's anything you want me to particularly speak about, Kate.
Thanks so much. I think there's so much to hear from everyone else as well. It just gives us sort of like, I guess what we're trying to do is think of all of this in a systemic frame, and it's how does it all link together and how do we all work together on this, and creativity I think has to be at the heart of this to enable people to exercise their imagination muscles, which need some exercise, I think. That's us. Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
That's awesome. And yeah, thanks so much. It's always cool how fun your stuff is and how visually pleasing it is. It'd be lovely to hear from the Vancouver folks if you are ready to say hi and share a bit about your meal. And also everybody's welcome to ask questions of each other. So it'd be great to hear from Vancouver and from Waukesha, and if anyone here wants to share some thoughts. We have more people showing up now for our meal here. Ardell, you want to share a little bit from your area, and also feel free to ask questions if you have any. Ardell, would you like to give us your local overview quick? I don't know if that's working. You're on mute. And Waukesha folks, would you like to share what's going on there? Okay, I'm gonna just take the guess that people are in their meals, and we're about to be in our meal, and we're gonna stop the online part of this soon. But just to give us a chance to wrap things up and for people to share what's going on a little bit here after the meal. So this meal is part of our Solidarity Summit. So we're here with the Madison Mutual Aid Network, and we're part of Humans United and Mutual Aid Network. So we have people from France, UK, Vancouver, Canada, and Detroit, Michigan, and Waukesha, and maybe beyond. So we're breaking bread together around the world and learning from each other, and just heard a lot about Hull UK's really amazing feast projects. And one of the things we didn't go into a lot, I would actually like to hear more if you feel like it, Kate, is you've been having meals where people from different refugee communities are making the food, and being able to share recipes and food and connect more with your local community, with the local community where they are. Did you want to say any more about that and what your plans are for that? Or anyone else have?
Yeah, so with our healthy holidays, I'll just put this on again. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. With our healthy holidays activity, so we've got Time Bank members who are refugees, and one member in particular, he's an amazing gardener, so he contributes to our community garden. But him and his whole family and some family friends as well, they came from Syria, and their children as well. They cooked with other young people this beautiful food. We just thought they call them stuffed vine leaves, they call them grape leaves, but they stuff everything, like carrots, courgettes, zucchini as you call it, onions, cabbage, and it was like this one pot cooking thing, and they did it with the young people. But this is the thing, for the summer program, at the end of the summer, they contributed to creating the feast together as well. And then we had other people who were even new to the people from Eritrea. So unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. But it's something, particularly the Eritrean community, they tend to move on because they can't access their sort of food in the city. So we had a member which Stephanie met when she was here in, I think, 2016. Fish, who's now reading pharmacy in Leeds Uni, but he wanted to give something back to his community because there's more Eritreans coming, because it's got more difficult over there. So and seeing food is a crucial way to enable people to put roots in the city, and the Time Bank as a way to connect them to each other, to help each other as well, looking at what they need and what they can contribute. We also, Wendy, you're involved in another project, aren't you? You just talk a bit about.
Well, it's kind of connected with the Eritrean community as well, because we've got another person who we connected with, who is running an organisation for Black and minority ethnic people, but basically it's an environmental network. So one of the things they're very interested in doing is basically making sure that the people within those sub-Saharan African communities that are now migrants here in our city can actually get access to the kinds of foods that they would have been able to access back home. Because during the pandemic, we found that in the lockdown time, they weren't being provided with the kinds of foods that they were used to eating. So a lot of people were being given things like sliced white bread or foods in tins, and they're so used to eating just fresh vegetables or fresh fish or fresh meat, but cooked obviously, but that they didn't want to eat these things that were being given to them that they felt was very unhealthy for them to be consuming. So one of the things that we're looking at in this new project is the recipes that people bring with them from their own home countries, and what sorts of ingredients would we be able to grow if we weren't able to actually source those ingredients from somewhere in this city, because it's one thing to have to drive 50 miles to go and do your shopping just to get food items. If we can grow them here, then people don't have to do that 50-mile journey, especially in a time of lockdown. So it's quite important that we're starting this project now, looking at people's recipes, the things that they cook from their home countries, and the ways in which we can actually introduce growing of those particular items here. And that's looking quite exciting for next year.
And they're also thinking about how that links into their economy in terms of developing food businesses. And yes, we're looking at the whole ecosystem, more community growing, more business startups. And it's that whole cycle of supporting each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all very exciting at the minute. Back to you, Kate.
Is that okay? Yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you. That's really cool. Ardell, did you feel like saying? Oh, go ahead. Ardell, did you feel like saying hi with your meal now?
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't know about what else to say.
Where you are and what are your dreams for a local network or food
right.
if you have?
Yeah. I forgot to pull that up. Yeah, really for me, so we're over here in Vancouver Island in British Columbia, and my hope for gathering in the future is just to have more of a sense of community cohesion and neighborliness. I think that the fact that we've all come to rely so much on the market for all of our needs has really allowed us to we don't feel as much of a need to keep building those bonds with other people. And I think that it's a loss that we all feel, even if we don't recognize that is what we're feeling. That's all.
Beautifully said. Thanks. Ross Cops, would you like to share from Waukesha? And meanwhile, we are going to be done soon with the online sharing part of today. So I'm going to invite our folks here to share anything that you would like to. After this, we're going to have a wellness fair. So we'll keep eating for another half hour and then we'll have some wellness activities, talk about neighborhood peace building, make some art. Like, hopefully you'll find a thing that you would like to do. But would people like to share what's your local dream? Do you have a dream for your community that you're bringing here today? And you don't have to say something, so I don't want to put anyone that's on the spot. I'm just going to sort of do the go around.
Hi, I'm Randy, and
Can you speak up to all of us?
oh, okay. I'm Randy. I'm involved in a program called Save the Farm, Save the Voigt Farm, which is north of Milwaukee Street. This is a 62-acre plot of land that's been there as an agricultural plot for 175 years, and it's now for sale, and we fear that it will turn into just another cookie cutter subdivision. And the dream that a community group is pursuing is trying to turn that into 3 land uses. One would be a radically diverse, affordable housing program that would include things like tiny houses, single room occupancy, entry-level ownership opportunities, and then an urban farm in the middle that would provide food for the community and hopefully also for food pantries and such. And then it's bordered by a lovely creek that would form a greenway, a green space, and some conservation land. I think the thing that's most exciting for me is we've been identifying an amazing assortment of collaborations that could happen on this property. Trouble right now is we don't have the money to buy the property, but we're working on that. But there have been connections made with programs in town that train kids at risk in construction that would be involved in the program. There's a group called Zerology that runs a program for shared electric vehicles that is interested in doing something. There was a group who just got involved in Milwaukee has something called the Urban Ecology Center, which is a program teaching inner city kids about nature, and they've expressed some interest in having a satellite on the Voigt property. We've also talked about the possibility of a all solar with a microgrid to supply power. There's been discussion of using the waste from the housing and the gardens to feed a biodigester. So there are just countless opportunities there that we believe we could pull together if we can get the property and get the support. So that's one of the ones we're working on. So, thank you. I'm sorry?
How much?
The property is right now $9 million. We've got a grant into the county that's looking very promising for $2 million, and we've polled the community, forming something called an investment cooperative, and people have non-binding pledges. Again, they haven't written checks, but they've said they would be interested in investing. That accumulates to $2 million. So we're hoping the city could kick in, but we'll see what we get.
How if you say if I wanted to get involved, is there a group that I go to or a meeting that I would go to continue to flourish this dream?
Yeah, the main contact right now would be a website called SaveTheFarm.net, and that has all the information, background information about the investment cooperative. There's going to be a big presentation on October 22nd about it, and we'll be doing large mailings about it. So.
And I have another question. Willie Street Fair already did this thing.
Yes.
I was going to say you hand out flyers, but never mind.
Yes. Yes.
We can do it
Okay.
more places.
Any other questions I can answer for anybody?
I can offer people, you can type your pledges in the chat if you'd like.
Yes.
Anybody else want to share a local dream? Sky Geo, would you be willing to talk about the wellness network that you brought up, and that was like an inspiration for today's wellness event, as it were?
No problem. So there's a couple of dreams that I have. One of the ones that Stephanie is talking about is creating a wellness center for a community, particularly the community I come from, which is Rockford, Illinois. However, it would be so successful that it could have branches all over the country. And I'm particularly interested in how this intersects with my other dream, to put an end to racial injustice, mass incarceration, and police terrorism. So at this wellness center, we would really be focused on healing trauma, healing generational trauma, and we would be doing that through different types of practices, whether they were physical body practices or energy practices. And I'm pretty inspired by the network that Madison has. So I'm also getting the opportunity to tap into networks in other areas as well. And I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for allowing me to share a little bit.
Anybody else want to share a local dream?
Oh, yay.
Great. Are you good? Okay, great.
Okay. So one dream I've had for a long time is I noticed there's been a huge divide in our cities from the farmers who are around it, especially the ones that are growing produce, who are by themselves. They're not like part of Monsanto. They're not part of these big organizations. These are just family farms that have been going on for hundreds of years. And like what is happening to the Voight farm, like they're gonna have to get rid of it. So right now, a lot of those farmers, the only way they have to sell their livelihoods to their crops is at farmers markets. And I think that's just crazy, because there's just these, the farmers market. It's really hard to get in the one in the square. So a lot of them don't even get in there. So besides that, they're not getting into grocery stores. So what's happening is about 70% of the food that is produced in our country is gone to waste. Then you have people starving out here at the same time, like several miles away. Like, really? So my dream is to be able to get that distributed into our communities and reconnect people with their farmers, because they're people and they're so disconnected. A lot of them are stuck behind technology, so they have no way of like having a voice or reaching out. And I've talked to them, and some of them just cry because all the work they've done their whole life is coming to this, but it's our responsibility as a community to reach back out. And recently I came in contact with somebody that is going to these farms, picking up the excess produce and bringing them into the city and distribute them at like food shelters and all sorts of places. And the problem with that is it's produce. A lot of people don't have the means of cooking that produce or the know-how who are in need. And we need to bridge that gap as the people that can, because a lot of us are well off. I'm well off. I live in the co-op, same co-op with Skygia, and over at Sophia House. This is my co-op house. But then Sophia House, yeah, we got other house co-ops. But anyways, we have 300 pounds of produce on our porch right now. Just came in this morning, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're getting a lot more coming in. If anybody has ideas, we're going to bring it into the co-op houses and try to feed people in the house and provide food, because the food's there and we can process it. But we want to get outreach going. We want to get cooking.
Has already been taking stuff that would be waste and turning it into meals for people, and so they have like a distribution network, and they already are. I would start talking to them. I bet
Okay.
you can really
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Also, they have gleaners.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do some more brainstorming and like knitting stuff together.
Okay.
So let's give the Waukesha folks a chance to
Sure.
share their
That's
local
it.
dream. Thanks, that's really cool. So that's one of the things that we'll do later. We brought out this big dry erase board, so we'll be able to sort of let people log their offers and needs. And let's go to Waukesha now. And I want to realize we've gone a little bit later than we said we'd keep sharing, and we'll just go a little bit longer until people are ready to stop chatting. So hello, Kurt and Sue. Want to let us know what you're up to and where you are?
Hi, so we're at Bethesda Park in Waukesha, and we have a few friends that have come out and joined us out here. And to be honest, we actually got into quite a conversation here, so I missed. So I'm gonna have to go back and see if I can revisit some of the things that were talked about on here. Looking forward to hearing more. Love what everybody's doing, and see what we can do to continue. So.
And great. And what are
Kurt's
you
actually
eating today? And what are some of the things that you want to do?
We have barbecues, and what else do we have over there? Cheese and crackers and veggies. And actually, at the moment, we're making our way up to the Twizzlers. Our treat for the end.
Awesome. We have malted milk balls filling that role today. How many people are over there with you at Casey's asking?
We've got a couple of friends here. So there's a total of 5 of us here, plus the dog.
Awesome. Fantastic. Does anybody else want to share your local hopes and dreams or questions or comments from other people? We heard from Kim in Detroit earlier. If there's anything more you want to share, happy to hear from you, but no pressure. Emily. And then, Casey, anything that you want to share about some of your local work and hopes and dreams?
Connect some of these dots here. My name is Casey, and I have a grassroots called Recreate, Ousting Addictions with holistic modalities, artistic expression, and journeys into the wilderness. So my vision is to create a holistic circle of people that express a desire and need to have extra help. And a lot of my community members are doing that. They created a lot of really great things for those things to foster. And I really want to start taking youth into the wilderness and also create sustainability and work with the youth around here with some of the modalities that we have, as well as fostering some visions at Occupy Madison, which has taken up a lot of my time and energy. But as the shift, as more people join in and have energy for that, some of the doors to other visions will open, and all of you here are those doors. So, and that's all I have.
Thanks. Anyone else? Yeah, great.
Hello. I'm part of a healing collaborative. It's the Madison Conscious Community Healing Collaborative. So what we're doing is collecting individuals that do holistic healing. We started this last year with like a social distancing thing and seeing everyone that needed help through the trauma of COVID. And we continued it on this year, and we expanded it because we did like a social distancing thing. And now we're bringing in more community members and holistic healers that we put on an event where we have an entire day of holistic healing and then an entire day of kids events that that Casey's been a part of. And yeah, we're reaching out into the community to serve the community and give some healing back to the community. And what Aaron was talking about, we're connecting that to feed people at the community and bring medicine and just like create a opportunity for everyone to come together in the community and heal each other. And we are expanding that to, we're currently speaking to Sky about doing something for the Black community and expanding from there and helping the not under minority communities or under, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, just reaching out to communities that could use this help as well, and connecting and networking all these people together from these different communities to work together and collaborate, so this organization skills can be used over in this organization that needs it, and just bridging the gap between these organizations that are all doing the same thing and working towards the same goal, and propelling each other, because that's how you start a revolution. I don't know.
And on that note, yeah, thank you. Anybody else want to share from where you are?
I do. This is Kim from, hey, this is Kim from Detroit. So I'm just listening to all the overlap. And so what I'm hoping for is that we can continue sharing, even visiting each other at some point. That's a dream that I have, and we'll definitely work towards it. I will be in medicine at some point, maybe sooner than later. I'll come visit, but yes, so I'm really excited about the groups and hearing about everybody's work.
We're really excited to welcome you here. And that goes for anyone from where you are. And so we're going to close out this part of today's Solidarity Summit, just share just a little bit more context on what's coming next. So this particular series of summits was born out of a solidarity sprint that some of us did a couple of years ago. So Kate, who's in Hull, UK, who we heard from, Casey went on part, and then Annalise from New Zealand and I went around to different mutual aid places around the country. So it was really great. We spent some really good time in Detroit and Western North Carolina and New York City and Massachusetts, and just learned a lot about what different people are doing. And the idea behind the humans is every single thing that we need in order to thrive and make the systemic change is in development somewhere, probably a pretty sophisticated version. A lot of what we need used to exist in healthy, whole communities and still does in some healthy, whole communities, and there are a lot of pressures from global, dominant, capitalist culture and imperialism, a lot of pressures on those cultures. So there is a recognition that's dawning more and more among people around the world, and we're so blessed to have a lot of people who've been doing something to realize their dreams, to shift this dynamic. But it is dawning on people, we have what we need if we use what we have, but not use it, if we honor and grow and nurture what we have. So that's what we're aiming to do, and just really connect these communities of practice. We've realized that actually meeting each other and developing actual relationships is what's most important. A lot of people are waiting to start their system till they have some good software or something. No. it's way beyond time for that, and that's not what we need. We have each other. That's all we need. That's kind of all we have. Good news, bad news, but it's mostly good news. So what is coming up for the rest of this summit? Hopefully everyone in our local areas will feel inspired to adopt some of what we've heard, or just and we'll be doing some stuff to weave together these networks and figure out how we move forward together better in concert. For the rest of this summit, we're going offline soon for today, but at 1 o'clock Central Time tomorrow, so 1 o'clock Chicago time, we're gonna have a viewing of the film Gather, which is focused on Indigenous food sovereignty. I think I'm gonna set up this TV and just have it play out on the street right in front of the building. So if you wanna set up some chairs physically distant and watch it together, I think it's kind of nice to like try to offer more street experiences. So that's one of the things that we're doing more, and just introduce people by happenstance to more ideas like this, and learning about Indigenous food sovereignty, mutual aid. So you can watch that on your own if you want. There's a link shared in the materials. I should probably share that again here. You can watch it on the street with us if you want. You can join on Zoom and we'll try to stream it at the same time, but it's better if you're watching online for you to do your own thing if you can. Register ahead of time, it'll make it easier for you. There'll be a discussion following the film. And then after that, we're gonna do a virtual marketplace. And essentially that's just like us seeing and also a download from what has happened in the summit. So people will share whatever came out of their local brainstorm work. And then we'll identify synergies and hear offers and needs from the people from the summit and see what we can do to support each other moving forward. So that's the download that I had to give. Anything that we missed? Does anyone have an exciting little parting poem or verse or couple of words you'd like to say to give us a nice send-off for today? Anyone? All right, so what I usually do in those circumstances is have us do, I was in an adult kickball team a few years ago, and we had a cheer where we put our hands in the middle, and then on the count of 3 we go, let's try. So put your hands in the middle on the count of 3. We can all do it from wherever we are. We'll go, let's try. 1, 2, 3. Let's try. There is no try, only do. Good night. Thank you, Hull folks, for sharing. Good day. Good to see you all.